Hello and welcome back to 4FS Gaming. This week we have a quick summary of all of the changes coming in the next Hunt Showdown update, and that should be dropping sometime this week. There are two new base weapons that are being introduced, the Martini-Henry IC1 and the Springfield 1866. You can check out our latest video where we break down all of the stats and test out both of these new guns, and I'll put a card for that on the screen about now. What we didn't cover last time was a much newer announcement, and that's that each of these weapons will have several variants, and all of them are really exciting. The Springfield 1866, which is a single-shot medium ammo rifle with the damage of a carabiner, but with about twice the range, will have 4 additional variants. There will be the Marksman, which will have a medium zoom scope attached, much like the Winfield and Labelle variants, and this seems like a potent combination for a long-range single-shot weapon. The Springfield 1866 Compact is a simple sawn-off variant, and this will take a medium rather than a large slot, which allows for a long-range secondary to be taken alongside shotgun primaries. Now the Compact Striker is another sawn-off variant, but it has a blade attachment, allowing you to effectively clear AI without having to switch to a tool. Now because it's a medium weapon, it still has less damage than say a full bayonet, but hey, the light attack still uses the blade, which is really nice against groups of enemies, and it has a low cost in stamina. And finally we have the Compact Deadeye. It's a sawn-off variant that carries the short-range Deadeye scope, so Hunt finally has its pocket sniper. All of these are rather cheap too, ranging from $33 to $73 Hunt dollars. We then have 2 additional variants for the Martini-Henry IC1. Now the base weapon is very similar to the Sparks LRR, but it sacrifices a tiny bit of damage and a significant chunk of projectile speed for a significantly improved reload, hence a faster rate of fire. The Deadeye version sports that short-range scope, which is going to be extremely powerful on a weapon of this nature, which relies on headshots at range. But from my testing, the most impressive weapon being added is the Martini-Henry Riposte. It takes the excellent stat line of this single-shot rifle, and it adds a melee attachment that will one-shot grunts in the head with light attacks, but it also swings in an arc to catch multiple enemies. But it can also be stabbed at very long ranges to insta-kill hives and kill armors in 2 hits with its heavy attack, and it sports a relatively low stamina cost for both of these attack types. It feels great to use, and it can clear out large groups of enemies very efficiently, which is exactly what you need with a rifle that can only shoot once before reloading. It honestly feels just as effective as any dedicated melee weapon, except for maybe the bomb lance, and that's saying something given the decent gun that it's mounted on in the first place. But this isn't the only change coming with update 1.1.3. We also have the anti-camping package, because apparently many players are having difficulty dealing with people who wait at the boss compound for enemies to come by. This anti-camping plan has 3 aspects. Firstly, consumables and tools will be much more prevalent. Each hunter will now carry 4 tools and 4 consumable slots by default, and there are item boxes scattered around the map, 1 at each supply station and 2 in each compound. These boxes can refill used consumable and tool charges. The Pack Mule trait will now simply double the number of consumables you refresh from these boxes, and Frontiersman will make all your tools come with an additional use. The rationale behind this is that more tools and consumables will give players more options to breach a defensive position or to probe out campers. Now I do like this idea, but I am torn as to if it will be effective, as it allows people to take more concertinas, tripwires, and other defensive items as well. The next change is that there is now a bonus reward of XP and money for every minute left on the clock when you extract with a bounty. This is supposed to encourage players to be faster and more aggressive. Now this is good for everyone regardless of playstyle. Aggressive players are rewarded for speed, and campers don't have to wait as long before aggressive players are likely to make a push and fall into their trap. It just means the games are less likely to turn into camp-off borefests. The final and by far the most noticeable change is far more controversial. There are now strange whispers that play when you're near a boss compound if the boss is still alive. This triggers at an 80 meter distance from the boss, and it doubles in intensity at 40 meters. Even if one player is within the intense 40 meter range, all players will hear the intense whispers. So what impact does this have? Well, if you arrive at the boss compound and there are no whispers, then you know that the boss is dead and that players are most likely hiding inside. If you near the compound and immediately hear aggressive whispers, it tells you that enemy players are closer into the compound. If you are camping close to the boss, then you will find it much harder to hear approaching players come up to your position. Now this, in theory, sounds good, but in practice it's not very well communicated. It feels heavy-handed, and the whispers are pretty irritating to all involved. Campers can just make sure that they are 40 meters away from the boss when they set up, and if you're playing aggressive and actually like fighting the boss, it makes it that much harder to detect enemy movement while you do so. So are there any other changes in this patch? Well, the good news is everyone will be getting 1,000 blood bonds and 5,000 hunt dollars as a big sorry for the state of the servers and bugs over the past few months since launch. It doesn't quite cover the gutted Oceanic player base, but hey, we'll take what we can get. There are also some bug fixes, some new legendary hunters and weapon skins, and small adjustments to trait costs, but you can read about all of these in the patch notes on Steam. They don't really need further discussion. I look forward to seeing how the community reacts to these changes, particularly the new weapons and the boss whispers. Please let us know what you think in the comments below. You can also check out our Discord, Twitch channel, and Patreon linked in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ascendance from 4FS Gaming.